everyone.
Hello.
My name is Angelina.
My name is Rosselyn Sanchez.
And here we are with Miss Franco and Mrs. Pietrzak, and we are going to ask them about their recent trip to Wales. So,
Miss Franco and Miss Pietrzak, can you tell us about how this opportunity was made available to you?
Ms. Franco could probably answer that question best.
Yeah, so last year in February, maybe some of you guys remember that a school in Wales came to visit us. And a few teachers and a group of students came and they went around our school and they wanted to repay the favor. So they invited myself and Miss Pietrzak to come see their school, and so they can show us around and see how they do it over there, since they felt so welcome when they came here.
So was there like a certain election process that it was specifically you two that went?
When Mr. O'Keefe, who was the president of the school last year when this was all coming about, he sent out an email and just asked if any faculty would be interested and to send a letter of interest and why it would be beneficial for our personal students if we were selected to go. And we were selected to go.
Oh, so why did you guys want to go?
Well, I wanted to go because I'm a theology teacher, and so we talk a lot about how we have a universal church that exists all over the world. So to be able to learn from other Catholic schools in other countries how they teach theology was something that was very interesting to me, and I found to be really impactful when we went to go visit. I also personally was interested because my family is Welsh.
Oh.
And something that I find really interesting about our school community is how everyone's really proud of their heritage and where they come from. And I saw it as an opportunity for me to explore my own heritage and where I come from.
Ms. Franco, what about you?
I really just love traveling. So any opportunity to go anywhere, I would like to take it. And so that's my personal answer. But professionally, I teach English. And English is a lot of reading and writing, but it's also about communicating and learning about other people and learning about other cultures, whether in the story or in a nonfiction text that we're reading. And so to be able to go to another location and actually interact with other people and hopefully engage with them in a way that now my students will be able to engage with some of their students and really practice learning more about people and empathizing with them in a concrete way instead of just talking about fictional characters in a classroom.
What assumptions did you guys have about the Welsh education system, and how were those assumptions like either confirmed or challenged?
Well, I think something I honestly had not given a lot of thought to how the Welsh schools would be different. I assumed because we are very close, even though we're over the sea, that the schools would be very different. And I was very surprised to find out that they do education quite different over in Wales. They graduate from high school when they're 16, so when you'd be a sophomore. And then they have a specialized program called Sixth Form, which would be our junior and senior year. And they take specialized education classes geared more towards their interests, or they would go to some sort of trade school or apprenticeship. And it gives a lot of the students over there the ability to study or practice some of the professions that they offer over in Wales, which I found very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that I had any assumptions. Other than what I've seen on television and read in books, I wasn't sure what to expect. And I agree with Miss Pietrzak. There was a lot that was really interesting, and there are certain things that we learned that we could definitely apply here. But one thing I noticed that I was not expecting at all was how little extracurricular activities were made available to them. And when you come from a school like Cardinal Spellman, there's so many opportunities for you guys as students to explore so many different interests. Any given day, if there's any area that you want to learn more about, we have a club for that. And the kids who are going to school over in Wales don't have all of those opportunities, and I don't think I expected it to be as limited as it was.
Okay, so what did you exactly do over there? Like, besides, did you just walk around, or did you do like anything else?
Do you mean in the schools or like
Yeah, like
our
in the-
trip in general?
Well, in the schools. So.
Okay, so in the schools, we got to see quite a few different classrooms. We each saw our own subject area. So Ms. Pietrzak got to see a religious education classroom, and I got to see a few English classrooms. But we did also get to see all the different subject areas. They gave us a tour of the building. We got to speak with some of the students and participate in some of the classes. And we were lucky enough that we also got to eat lunch with the faculty every day. So we got to talk to teachers from other countries and kind of compare what's similar, what's different, what are some things we're all experiencing in a global education system and not just Wales schools and American schools.
Okay, so how did the students respond when meeting you?
A lot of the students were very interested that we were from America, and they would ask very stereotypical questions of what kind of foods we would eat and what our favorite fast food restaurant was. And they would ask us about what music we liked. They would ask us about
If we ever saw a famous person living in New York.
yes,
But food was the number one question, which I think, from my memory, when we've had kids from other countries visit here and they've come into my classroom, my students are also asking them what food that they have. So that's something unifying between teenagers, I think, is everyone's really interested in food.
yes.
Yeah.
So, like, when it came to the food, was there really any differences between, like, the American school lunch system and the Welsh school lunch system?
Yes.
Like,
So it was different in the sense that, you know, in Wales and the UK in general, they don't have as many options for food as we have living in the Bronx. So if you want any style of food, any food from any different type of culture, you know that there's a trusted place that you can get that food. And over there, they don't have as much diversity as we have here, which means there's not as much actual authentic food from all the cultures that we have here. And for lunch, for example, up here, you guys have so many different options in the cafeteria here. And they did have options over there, but they were very limited compared to here.
Well, since we're on the topic of food, what food did you guys have over there?
A lot of fish and chips,
Yes.
chips being French fries, as we call them.
Yeah, we
lot
had
of-
some shepherd's pie, which is a common meal that's over there.
What else do we have? Halloumi, a lot of halloumi.
Yeah, we tried these things called Welsh cakes, which are very small scones, basically. They're a mix between a pancake and a scone, and you would eat them with butter or jam. They're very big on having tea and scones or tea and biscuits when they're in the afternoons. They're not coffee drinkers over there. So if you like your Dunkin' iced latte, that's very hard to get over in Wales. So it might be something that if you go visit, you might have to sacrifice while you're over there.
Especially where we were. The school we went to visit was St. Joseph's in Port Talbot, and it is a very small town on the water. It is not like, for example, we saw another school in Cardiff, which is the capital of Wales. That was more like a city. So they had a McDonald's there, whereas in Port Talbot, you know, they did have a McDonald's, but that was probably the only fast food option, as opposed to Cardiff, where if you're walking around, it kind of felt more like there was more diversity there in general. So specifically where we were, there were not a lot of choices like you guys have here.
so, when you went to visit the school, like, and after everything you saw over there, was there anything in the school that you thought, oh, maybe we should try that in Cardinal Spellman, or like in the American system in general?
Yeah, there were some particular ways that some of the teachers, for myself and Ms. Franco, we really love observing other teachers. It's something because of our profession. We're really passionate about educators who know how to teach well and teach effectively. So it was very interesting to see various teachers' strategies as to how to have an engaging classroom, maybe activities they did with their students. We both personally took some notes on different techniques that they did to help students learn vocabulary, or how they got students to participate in discussions. So there were a lot of things that we found very interesting, and we want to apply to our own classrooms.
Yeah, one thing that I found really interesting, and this is not just about Cardinal Spellman, this is the American education system as a whole. There's not a lot of opportunity for breaks for the students or really the teachers, even though you guys have your lunch period, you have a few minutes in between periods, we have our lunch period, but there was a actual 20-minute portion of the day where students took a break. They were able to go to the bathroom, they were able to get a snack. The teachers were able to go to the bathroom and were able to get a snack. And that's something that's applied in all the schools in Wales. And again, that's not something that's just our school doesn't have, the American education system in general. There's not a lot of opportunity to actually take a minute for yourself during the school day because we're trying to do so much in a certain amount of time. And I really liked that.
And lastly, how has this experience changed the way you think about your own teaching? Or what do you want your students to understand about education beyond the Bronx?
That's a good question. I feel like for me, in terms of my own teaching, it kind of reinforced the things that I like about what I do as a teacher while also opening me up to more that I could be doing. So it was validating in certain ways that, oh, even in Wales, they're taught these systems that were taught here, but they're using them differently. And so I could take that and apply it to my classroom so that my students can have that type of experience as well.
Yeah, I think something, because we're on this trip, we're representing our school and we're learning from other teachers and other educators. Something that I found very impactful was a renewed sense of the why, of why we are a part of education, why we are teachers. So there was a lot of time that I reflected on why I'm a teacher and why I like to do it, not just because it's a job. And sometimes as a student or sometimes as a teacher, we can be so present focused and think about what is the tasks that I have to do each day, how do I teach a particular lesson. But something that the trip gave me was a wider view or perspective as to why do I want to be a teacher and why do I like to be in front of students every day, and how can I help them to grow, not just to learn my subject area, but to grow into men and women of good character.
And I think it really helped reinforce for me the value of learning in general, for me personally, but why is it important for you guys to come to school and speak with each other and learn from your teachers and from your classmates and from the other staff in the school, your tutors, your club moderators, all of that. So like what Ms. Pietrzak said, the why are we doing this? And it was very validating, like I said before, and just confirmed, I think, for both of us why we started doing this in the first place.
So in all, I think this trip really had a really nice impact and really like showed the importance of like cultural exchange, you know, because you experienced a whole new thing and it put you guys in a lot of thought. So
Would you possibly like to go to the same school again, or would you like to visit another school maybe in the future?
Yes to both. I would love to be able to go back. I would also love, hopefully, maybe to bring students there. I would love for them to be able to come back and visit us as well. And I would always love to see more places and meet more people. Like I said at the beginning, I love traveling. I think there's so much value in being somewhere new and meeting people that you wouldn't be able to meet if you stayed put where you are. So I want that for the students, I want it for you guys, and I want it for as much of the faculty as possible.
okay, well, thank you so much, you guys. It was actually really fun.
Thank you for having us.